All right. Well, thank you. And welcome. Thank you for joining.
Of
Uh,
course.
awesome, Sarah. I'm so excited to have you joining us today. And for those of you that are not here, this is the Self Healing Haven group call with Sara Mastantuono. I hope I said your name right.
Close enough.
And I am going to take a moment just to introduce Sara and why she is our guest expert today. So, Sara has always been an athlete as she was growing up, and she has a great passion for wellness and healthy living. She studied and completed her bachelor's in science in kinesiology at Iowa State University. After graduating, she earned her National Strength and Conditioning Association Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist certification. Um, and so we are really excited to have her here today because she is an expert in kind of the evolution and evolving science of strength and fitness. She has found that science is always evolving, and she's continued to challenge her education on a personal level by staying up to date on new research and findings pertaining to health and fitness, nutrition, and other factors that play a role in quality of life and longevity. And she loves to empower others to recognize just how capable they are and help guide them to a healthy, lifelong relationship with themselves. So, thank you, Sara, for
Of
joining us.
course.
I was thinking, Sara, maybe we could just get started with a little, if you have anything else that you want to share about your background and what drew you to fitness and maybe strength training in particular, just so we kind of have a little bit of a sense of that for you.
Yeah, of course. As you mentioned, I've always been an athlete in my whole life, so I've always had that self-competitive nature, but also, competing with teams and against other teams. It's kind of helped me give me that drive to keep myself active. But I actually am coming up on, let's see, I lifted my first real weight when I was a sophomore in high school. Was the first time I touched a barbell. And I mainly decided to switch into that gym class, which was run by the football coaches. So it was all the football players, and the football coaches ran it. There was one other girl in class than me. So obviously she was my lifting partner. But I actually originally took that class so I could get out of running in the regular gym class. And so that was my main reason to getting into the strength training option for gym. And ever since then, I've just been hooked. And I have now been coming up on, let's see, that was year 2005, 2006. So I'm 17 to 18 years into barbell lifting or strength training. And I've
Mhm.
just never looked back. It's helped me in everything that I've done, competitive swimming, tennis, basketball, just basic health in my life. My body just keeps showing up for me because I keep showing up for my body. And it's just this constant cycle that, is why I'm in it. And then, yeah, I found my passion, went to school, and just now I get to do this for a living and help other people on the same path, which is just really cool to see.
Yeah, awesome. I'm curious, like in your work with clients, I know one of the biggest kind of things that can be a hardship is like that motivation and people like really sticking to it. Do you have any like pearls or things that seem to help people get through that moment where they can keep showing up for themselves, like you show up with for your body and vice versa?
Totally. It's really different per person. So, couple ways to go about this so we can attack this question.
Mhm.
One, there's ebbs and flows for everybody. I've strength trained, I've coached tons of people. I've worked alongside other coaches, and there are just ebbs and flows for everyone. Everyone's not going to be on their tip top game all the time. It's normal to kind of experience those ups and downs with motivation. Just motivation is not going to be there for you 100% of the time. So what I like to do is help my clients find, first and foremost, why we're doing what we're doing, right? Statistics show that if people have an ultimate outcome goal that they're searching for, they are much more likely to achieve those goals. So I really try to find the why with my clients when I start with them. And whether that's an extrinsic motivation or intrinsic motivation, um, we start there. Intrinsic motivation is the highest quality motivation that we can grasp onto to drive us to continue. So even if things start out as extrinsic motivation, for example, extrinsic motivation would be my doctor says I need to lose 15 pounds, right?
Mhm.
Intrinsic motivation would be like, I want to be able to keep up with my kids or my grandkids, or I want to be able to hike Machu Picchu before I turn 50, or any insert goal there, some performance goal that you want to hit, or just healthy feeling.
Mhm.
From there, we can create a layer of goals. So, say if my ultimate goal is to be able to keep up with my kids or grandkids, that's our ultimate goal at the top end, right? So now we want to create layers of short-term goals that we know we need to be able to do to as stepping stones to get us to that higher end goal. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, like,
Right?
visualization.
Exactly. It just makes everything more tangible, right? So instead of saying, I just need to show up every single day so that to the gym so that I can keep up with my kids, what does that mean, right? So creating short-term goals like, okay, my kid loves or my grandkid loves piggyback rides. My grandkid weighs 55 pounds. What do we need to be able to do? We need to be able to carry 55 pounds.
Yeah.
Boom. That's one
Yeah.
short-term goal, right?
Yeah.
So having those smaller stepping stones, I think, and what I've seen and experienced in myself is that gets us like from kindergarten to first grade to second grade to third grade, right? It just keeps getting closer and closer to that outcome goal. And we have shorter times where we can achieve those. And then we have the ability to compare where we are now than where we started. And always seeing those short term progress effects will keep you more motivated to the end.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. I love that. I think about, I listened to a expert who used a lot of visualization, and she
Mm-hmm.
talked about how there's a lot of research, a lot with like runners in particular. So
Mm-hmm.
it's tried to escape running in the past, but the most successful runners were those that like looked in like far enough into the distance on their run, but not weren't thinking about like the end of their run, like the final, like cross the finish line. They were putting their like goal of, I just need to run this like next 250 meters. I just need to run this next quarter mile. And
Exactly.
and every time they cross that or they get close to it, they look farther in the distance and then say, I just need to get there.
Yeah,
Right.
and they can look in the past and see how far they've come, which is going to be motivating,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Motivating itself. It also shows you to, I like to help my clients differentiate between motivation and discipline or dedication, right? So we're not going to love everything that we need to do to get to our outcome goals, right? If everything was 100% based on, easy motivation, we'd all be doing it, right? So being able to understand what our motivation is and then hitting those short-term goals is where we're really going to see deep down what kind of discipline and dedication we have to get to that ultimate motivation point, right?